This is kind of emotional, man. I'm not gonna lie. It is. We are going over the Thatcher Demko story as it pertains to the Vancouver Canucks ever since the team had re-signed Kevin Lankinen. Because it's been a pretty constant topic of conversation for the past 12 months or so. Vancouver Canucks goaltender Thatcher Demko missing time, missing games, getting hurt, leaving games, and putting the Vancouver Canucks in a much more vulnerable spot with their goaltending. This is a tweet that we had seen from Thomas Drance 3 days ago about how Thatcher Demko, lower body injury, won't be making the upcoming road trip with the team, and he will be reevaluated when the Canucks return from Seattle next weekend. It's not the knee. Officially, it's week to week, per a team spokesperson. So, 3 days ago, there was already a few more, let's just say, tribulations with Demko and his path. A lot of the replies are going out here and expressing their frustration. The man cannot stay healthy. Shame for Canucks fans. He can be an elite goalie. It's never been more over. Not that serious becomes week to week. This team can't buy a break this season. Week to week after 2 weeks off? Not good. This is a career-ending type issue at this point. Remember when Tocchet said he didn't believe the injury was serious? I'm not sure how you justify re-signing this guy. I mean, can we really believe it's not the knee or week to week when it comes from this management group? Thatcher Demko's body breaking down was one of the main reasons why the Vancouver Canucks decided to re-sign Kevin Lankinen. They gave him a 5-year extension, $4.5 million a year. And because he's got that position on lock now, we are seeing conversations about Thatcher Demko. If you just search Demko on Twitter, you will see a whole bunch of analysis and response to the Lankinen deal. Demko has been an outstanding Canuck both on and off the ice. Hockey is a tough business, and this Lankinen signing reflects that reality. Kevin is now firmly established as the goalie of the future. Now, you can agree or disagree with this take if you want, but let's go out there and talk about some of these other talking points. Halford and Bruff earlier this morning. Does this mean Thatcher Demko is done in Vancouver? They had an entire 5-minute segment on the show with Rick Dhaliwal as to whether or not this actually does indicate, let's just say, a change in scenery or a change in direction for Canucks goaltending. Bruff tweeted the same thing out with the Kevin Lankinen news. What does this mean for Thatcher Demko? Let's go out and read some of the responses to this here. Either goalie can be traded, or at worst, both. Trade, or he might retire if he can't stay healthy. Good thing you have a radio show where you can discuss this for the next 2 months. Yeah, Juice Klein, shout out to him. I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that. LTIR Vegas special. Everyone remember the Louis Eriksson contract? Knowing us, we'll move Demko to LA or Edmonton. This is the kind of price you want, so that you have a 1A, 1B situation. Lankinen has shown that he burns out if overplayed, and Demko's deal with the devil is showing the trope side effects. I like how this phrase is put into the tweet here. Demko's deal with the devil. Yeah, the guy can't stay healthy to save his life. And with Kevin Lankinen now signed up to a long-ish term deal, at this point, the Vancouver Canucks are just locking it down, saying, hey, we need reliable goaltending in the organization that we know is going to be there. We need a guy that can be relied upon. We don't want to wait until free agency to try to bob for apples and see if there's going to be a starter caliber guy available. Lankinen can be starter caliber. You just got to make sure you don't overplay him. If Thatcher Demko is able to, let's just say, get back up to speed, maybe even not to a full 50 game capacity. If he's able to play 20, 30 games in a season, then maybe that's what you need him to do, right? But going back over onto this conversation, Lankinen definitely earned himself a nice raise based off of his play in Nashville and Vancouver, but that's quite a commitment for someone who's a 1B when Demko is healthy. And I think a lot of backlash was put against this idea because it's like, hey, Demko's never healthy. He'll never be healthy. I don't think there's any way we can risk banking on Demko staying healthy. Don't get me wrong, I still have high hopes for him, but an insurance policy was all but crucial at this point, and I feel Lankinen has earned it. Seems like they're betting the under on quote-unquote when Demko is healthy. When Demko is healthy, that's the key. When Demko is healthy, is that really gonna happen? if Demko is healthy. If not, when? They obviously don't trust him to stay healthy. At this point, it's starting to maybe look a little bit more like this core that the Vancouver Canucks have may be in jeopardy. I mean, people are already talking about Brock Besser getting moved, right? Pettersson was almost traded to Carolina. Quinn Hughes might leave to New Jersey in free agency in a few years. Lankinen has been great for the Canucks this season, only Quinn Hughes has been more valuable. I wasn't expecting this kind of term for him, though, and it raises more questions about Demko. They don't trust Thatcher Demko's body. He also had this reply, which is a little bit more optimistic, I'd say, from Chester Ming. I actually think Demko's situation makes it easier to carry a 1B goalie. It's not like Demko is going to be asking for $8 million with term. A $10 to $12 million cost for a tandem is perfectly reasonable long term. And this, of course, is alluding to the fact that Thatcher Demko's contract is expiring in a little bit. It's not long term. It goes on till 25-26 at $5 million a year. So if you use the argument that says, hey, Thatcher, you haven't been healthy. Like, sure, you got nominated for a Vezina last year. You were good. But with this in mind, it's like, you can't play like that consistently. You're not that guy for a good chunk of the year that we need you to be that guy. So you can't demand number one absolute bona fide $10+ million Igor Shesterkin starting money. He can't demand that. So if Demko gets something in the 5.5 range, or let's just say $5 million range, if the Canucks have a goaltending tandem at $10 million, that's pretty good. That's like the price of one Sergei Bobrovsky. That's one Igor Shesterkin. Demko and Lankinen, when they're both on their game, they are both fantastic. It's just for Thatcher Demko, I think at this point you have to really start thinking about not playing him in a number one starting workload capacity. If the Vancouver Canucks think that Demko is on his last legs here, guess what? That contract of his, there isn't really any trade protection. Yeah, there's none. He's free to get traded wherever and whenever. So the Vancouver Canucks do have an opportunity to shift gears entirely with their goaltending and go to Kevin Lankinen should they feel Demko is no longer the guy they can rely upon. So, with that in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's go over onto this subreddit here, our Canucks, because they did talk a little bit about this as well. This is the post about Kevin Lankinen getting re-signed. Guys, what does this mean for Thatcher Demko? Either you trade him for whatever he's worth, probably not much, or you keep him and hope we can run a 1A, 1B, because Lankinen will need that workload to offset the amount of games he'll play. Wait, what happened with Demko? I followed the Avalanche and I thought he was the real deal. He is the real deal. Unfortunately, he came equipped with explosive knees from the factory. And explosive hips. Injuries. Can't stay healthy. Extremely injury prone. He's been injured 4 times in 12 months, looking very bleak. He was just starting to return to form for the first time in over 12 months, and then he got injured right before the Four Nations. It's absolutely gutting. Outside being a fan on a human level, I really feel for him as a guy. His potential is so high, even him returning to form just before hurting himself again, it was a reminder how insanely good he is. So you're not alone. But his career so far with injuries is looking like it might end up being adjacent to that of Corey Schneider's. Very talented, but unable to play into his 30s because of chronic injuries. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is a Thatcher Demko trade coming soon? Do you see Thatcher Demko as the goalie 1A, 1B in any capacity for the Vancouver Canucks in 2026, 2027, and beyond? His contract goes on till next season, but for now, the only guy that we know is going to be here beyond next season is Kevin Lankinen, and maybe in some capacity Artur Shilov. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think a Thatcher Demko trade is coming? Do you think it's possible? What are your opinions on how the Lankinen extension affects Demko's situation? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.